Welcome to Tell to Trevor. I'm your host, Trevor Shelley, and today on my podcast I have.
Criss Austin.
What sparked your interest in the professional wrestling industry?
Well, when I was a kid, my uncle used to watch a lot of wrestling, and one day at my grandmother's house, he was watching Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle, Iron Man match 2005, and for some reason that just caught my attention, and ever since then I was hooked, and I've been a fan of wrestling. So I want to say that would probably be the main point of interest for me.
Who were your wrestling mentors growing up?
My mentors, when I first got into training to be a wrestler, definitely Eric Shadows. He's a guy here in my local area, McAllen. Danny Ramones, Danny Chance, all guys that were local here, training me, helping me, find my way in the ring. And then there's guys out of town like Rob Love from San Antonio, Terrell Tempo just lately, who's really big in RCW, or no, not sorry, RCW, Reality of Wrestling, ROW. So yeah, those are some guys I consider my mentor. Oh, and Bandana Joe, also known as Alvaro Riojas, who's now a Spanish commentator on AEW.
Okay. How did you get your start in the wrestling world?
So I live here in McAllen, Texas, the south part of Texas, close to Mexico. And I was, looking around to see any, was wrestling nearby. And a lot of times, anytime I would Google wrestling in Texas, it would show me San Antonio, Austin, Houston, all these places. But somehow, some way, I eventually found a place in McAllen called the Wrestling Revolution. So I messaged them, said, "Hey, I want to become a wrestler. What do I have to do?" Showed up to one of their shows, and from then on, it was training once a week with them.
What was your first wrestling match like?
A lot of nerves. My first match was against a person named Jay Williams. It was at Cena El Rey here in McAllen, and it was a lot of nerves going in. Didn't know what to expect, especially since when I first got into wrestling, I thought it'd be easier than what it was, and it turned out to be a lot harder. And so it was just a lot of nerves going into it.
What are your goals for the future in wrestling?
Um, I don't have a lot of goals for wrestling. Like when I first got into it, I got into it just to do it. Um, it wasn't one of those things that where I was a kid that yes, I liked it, but it wasn't something like, oh, it was my dream, my passion to be a wrestler. It's just something that I
Yeah.
found. And so far, I mean, I don't have long-term goals. I've just been kind of giving myself short-term goals. Of course, I do want to have a major, a chance at a major promotion, whatever promotion that may be, whether it be, New Japan or AEW or with WWE. But as far as going 5 years into the future, trying to, give myself that kind of goal, that's not something I really do. Just more short-term goals. So pretty much for like this year, I'm just planning to get out more, travel a lot more, get more shows out of state.
Okay. Can you describe your wrestling persona or character for someone that has not seen you wrestle?
So right now I am the Dream Killer. So basically, as a sorry, my kid. Uh, basically Dream Killer. Basically, as a bad guy, as a heel, that is basically I am going to kill your dreams. Whatever dreams you have of either being a champion or getting ahead in the company that we're wrestling in, well, they're no use. I am going to end them. And as a babyface, Dream Killer is, well, I have dreams too, and they're stronger and better, and I will achieve them uh, faster than you will. and I will kill your dreams because my dreams are stronger, basically.
Can you share a memorable moment from your wrestling career?
Probably my first title win. That was a big moment. Probably being named the first champion for New Breed Wrestling and the first champion at TWL. However, I think more recently, back in August, I had a match with one of my good friends, Dan Ismail, and it was just one of those matches that you just know is kind of special. That everything just goes well, everything works good, everything the crowd's into it, the moves are good, there's no mistakes, and I think that's one of my favorite moments so far in my career. Just putting that match together, having that match with him, and it was in front of like 400 people, which was awesome. Awesome to do. So yeah, that's probably that match is like a moment, I guess you can say, that is a favorite of mine.
Can you describe the feeling of winning your first championship?
Uh, yeah, I almost cried. Held it together though. It was kind of like a big deal. That
Yeah,
I think only a lot of us independent guys can really understand. A lot of people out there may think it's kind of corny, but to us, it means a lot when you put in a lot of hard work, and especially a promotion where you start with believes in you enough to say, you know what, we're gonna give you a title because you're doing
yeah.
good for us. So yeah, that it really meant a lot to finally achieve that goal.
How do you handle the mental and emotional aspects of wrestling?
Oh, luckily I have an amazing partner. She keeps me sane. She's there with me through everything. Long drives, short drives, big shows, good shows, bad shows, everything. I've been with her pretty much since I started wrestling. We got
Yeah,
to we got together about, I want to say, like 7, 8 months after I started wrestling. We had started dating, and so she's been with me this entire ride. I've been wrestling for going on 8 years in February. So she's pretty much been there with me the entire time. And luckily, I have her. That anytime I feel like, wrestling's kind of getting to me, wrestling, it's tough, whatever. She helps me out, get me through it.
all right, so we're gonna start this segment called Trev Shock. It's like Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast has his little the questions that you got to answer in a certain time.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, or like if you're in a business meeting, those kind of questions.
Yeah,
Can never remember the name of it, what they call it in the business.
yeah.
All right, so mine, you have 50 seconds to answer these 6 questions.
Okay,
Fastest time wins.
all right.
So always put it. All right, let me. Okay. Favorite pre-show snack.
I do not eat during pre-shows.
Pre-show song.
Pre-show song. Don't listen to music.
Who's your favorite wrestler growing up?
AJ Styles and Edge.
Favorite sports team.
Steelers.
Favorite color.
Purple.
Favorite type of music.
Let's go hip hop. Rap.
Yeah. I will go back and let you know if you beat it because I don't have my other phone on me that I usually
Okay.
set my timer for. So I was trying to eyeball it and be like, did he beat
Gotcha.
it or not?
Yeah, gotcha.
I know it was 8:45 for recording was when we started it.
Uh,
So gonna go with yeah, you beat it.
nice.
That hard thinking of like, did he beat it or not?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the wrestling crossover events with other sports and entertainment industries?
It's good. It's always good to bring eyes to, each thing. I grew up playing football, and I was one of those I guess few that you could I used to like watching football and I used to like watching wrestling. I like both, and I always like when they do those promotions like, oh, like Seth Rollins is here at a Bears game and he does like the run out, or they have wrestlers at like baseball games doing the toss up. I think it's really good. Um, or having those football players or baseball players at wrestling shows, because I think
Yeah,
it brings eyes to each other. It helps each other out. Because someone watching football might not know who that wrestler is. Someone watching wrestling might not know who that player is, and they want to look it up, and they get into that sport, and they get into wrestling, and vice versa. So I just think it helps out everybody in the long run.
yeah. What advice would you give to an aspiring wrestler?
Listen. Anybody who has advice for you, even if it's sometimes bad advice, you want to listen, because you can take. I mean, even if it's bad advice, you can take that bad advice and not do it, and learn something from it. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, just pretty much, just don't act like you know more just because you think you do.
yeah.
Especially for someone who's established, if they're trying to tell you something, then you should probably listen to what they're saying, because they're at where they're at because they listened to someone.
Can you talk about a significant rivalry you had and how it helped you grow as a wrestler?
Um, wow. Probably. Dang. I want to say probably. I had a I had kind of an argument with a fellow wrestler once backstage over something, because I used to be that kid. When going back to the last question, I used to be that kid that didn't listen, and that's why I kind of stress so importantly to listen, because I've been there before. So yeah, I had an argument with the wrestler once backstage about what I thought was right and he thought was right, and after that, like, I really had to step back and think like, well, do I even want to do wrestling anymore? Because this, like, I feel like I'm not doing anything good. Everything I say is bad, and I think that was a big turning point in helping me grow as a wrestler, to finally say, you know what, maybe I should just shut up. Maybe I should just listen. And maybe everything will be better. And so far, it's been better. Even guys who have wrestled less years than me, but I know have been places that I haven't, I'll listen to them for advice, because obviously they have had knowledge that I have not been able to grasp. So,
Yeah. What was it like working with a particular wrestler that you really clicked with in the ring?
it's awesome. Especially when it's a wrestler that you don't know too well. Here in McAllen, or anywhere, anytime you work locally, you know the guys, you know everybody. So obviously you're familiar with each other. But anytime I'm able to wrestle anybody like Edgar Garza from San Antonio, he's really good. Me and him have always had great matches, and it's been like that since our very first match. Like, we knew of each other, we talked to each other every once in a while, but we had never done anything physical. And once we got into the ring together, it just clicked. And anytime I can have those matches with guys where everything just clicks, it's a good feeling to know.
Can you describe your training process and what was the most challenging part of learning to wrestle?
So the training process was difficult. So like I said, I was trained here, McAllen, Wrestling Revolution. When I could, they used to have the ring in a old theater called Cena El Rey, and they would train when they could, because the theater would, have to use it for events too. If we were lucky, it was once a week, sometimes on a Thursday before a show, or on Friday right before the show. And sometimes Saturday if we were lucky. So anytime between 1 to 3 days if we were lucky. I mean, I remember one time there was a whole month we didn't train, uh, and I only got about 5 to 6 months of training. And you put all that together, it's probably like 12 sessions in total that I had, maybe a little bit more, maybe 20 sessions. Um, so really, all we did was practice moves. And psychology wise, it was that was something I had to figure out on my own, watching a bunch of matches,
Yeah.
studying, like really watching matches. Because before, obviously, as a fan, I was just watching just to watch them. But during my training, I was now like looking at it different. I was watching like, okay, well, the heel did this. Well, why did the heel do that? Oh, the face did that. Why did the face do that? Why did they go to that move instead of going into this move? So everything just
Yeah.
switched over from fan to student. So my training process was really just do moves at training because that's all we really had time to do, and then study matches for the psychology side.
What are the biggest challenges of being a professional wrestler outside of the ring?
Trying to balance uh uh wrestling life and my real life. Cause you know without wrestling, I'd probably just be a normal, you know, guy. I'd probably just, oh yeah, I can just, go to work, come home to the kids, maybe go to the gym every once in a while. Weekends are free. But with wrestling, I have to be able to say, no, I gotta really go to the gym. Gotta go hard in the gym. I gotta watch what I eat at home because I can't look too because I always want to look good for when I'm in the ring. And weekends, I got to plan my weekends months in ahead because bookings come up every once in a while. I can never say, yeah, I can do something that weekend because I don't know if I can do something that weekend. An opportunity might pop up to wrestle a show. So, it's just trying to balance that life between, job, home, especially now that I have two kids. It's got even harder. So trying to balance that lifestyle of I have home with two kids, I have work, I got to go to the gym, I got to eat, and then I got to plan out my schedule on the weekends. So just
Yeah.
finding that balance, I think, is probably one of the toughest things.
How do you feel about the business side with shaping storylines?
I love it. I used to be a part of it for a small time. I used to love help coming up with stories. I still do sometimes if anybody asks me. It's fun coming up with a story to tell, especially in the ring. Um, and but sometimes also it's hard because you got people who probably don't see the bigger picture, see the vision. So you sometimes butt heads. Y'all have different ideas and stuff like that. But honestly, that's what makes it also fun because when everything does work out, everything does come together, and it is good and it's great and it comes out fantastic. It's really satisfying.
If you could wrestle any legendary wrestler from the past, who would it be and why?
Ricky Steamboat because he was just ahead of his time. He was so good. He just knew how to work well. He was very fluid. He was not like the usual big guys of just regular bump here, regular bump there. No, he was able to flow around that ring gracefully, and I'd really love to work a prime Ricky Steamboat.
If you could attend a wrestling session, wrestling training session with any wrestler, who would you pick?
Uh, Probably my favorite one. Or not my favorite one. Actually, no, no, no. I was gonna say AJ Styles, but no. I remembered a video I watched. Probably Kota Ibushi. I saw a video of him training, doing a training session, and it looked really fun. And I would really like to do a training session with him.
If you could attend a wrestling, if you could have a wrestling legend as your mentor, who would you choose?
Um, Wrestling legend, probably. Ooh, a tough one. I would probably say Triple H, just because he was always a student of the game. He always studied and he's a very underrated worker in the ring, on the mic and everything. So I just feel like he would be a fantastic mentor to have.
Alright, so on 2K, WWE 2K24 Universe mode, I have my own showcase of wrestlers that have been on the podcast. I add them to my universe. So it's called the Shock universe. So we have a world, a tag, a mid card, a cruiserweight, and a hardcore title. Which one would you go for?
I'm sorry, what was that? The
We have
ending?
a world, a tag, mid card, cruiserweight, or hardcore. Which title?
Which title?
Yeah.
Oh, the main one? World.
Well, let's see. And then what hobbies bring you joy outside of the ring?
I enjoy playing football when I can. Going to the park with some guys, playing flag football. Um, Going to the park with my kids. Um, Cooking, really love cooking. And recently, because of my job, I've really got into parkour. That's really fun. Doing parkour, doing tricks and flips. So yeah, those are pretty much. Oh, and video games. Love video games. Even though it's mostly just the same two, or same three at this point, with uh, Madden, college football, and Fortnite. Pretty much, that's all that runs on circulation here. But those are the things I enjoy to do besides wrestling.
Uh, where can well, let's see. What is your favorite gear that you have ever got made?
The one I'm currently wearing now, when I can, it's all white with purple trimming on it. It's
Yeah.
Frieza inspired from Dragon Ball. Uh, it's yeah, it's just white with purple on it. It's probably one of my favorite gear. It's so nice. It's clean. I only wear it indoors. Never at outdoor shows because I don't want to get it dirty. So yeah, that's probably my favorite gear.
Where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook, just Criss Austin. Uh, Lives in McAllen, Texas. On Instagram at Criss Austin 2017. That's CRISS. And you can same handle on Twitter. And you can even find me on YouTube. Just search up Criss Austin. All my matches will be on there.
Thank you, Chris, for being on Tell to Trevor. Guys, just heads up, we are doing a T-shirt giveaway with the wrestlers and fans. Two different contests. You're both winning the same thing, just giving the fans their up, not rigging it. Oh, it's a wrestler that entered it. They can
Yeah,
win it.
gotcha.
I wanted to make it fair because a lot of people were interested into it
Yeah, I get you.
because you can pick from 5 designs,
Oh, nice.
and it was made by a professional company.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, and then thank you, Wrestling Evolution, for being a sponsor of this podcast. Alrighty. See you guys next time.